So now you've recorded and reconciled the month of January. There's no need to start a new register. You just continue on from where you left off. That's the way life would work. You wouldn't actually even stop doing the transactions on the 31st of January. In real life, you most likely would not have received the statement if you got it by mail until around the 5th or 6th of February. If you're getting it via email, you might have actually got it on the 31st, making it a lot easier to reconcile right at the end of the month. So in February, we begin with a 95-cent payment on our debit card to the Maple Park Community Center for a pamphlet on food nutrition. So again, we used our debit card. This time we used it on the 1st of February to the Maple Park Community Center. It was 95 cents. On February 3rd, we used our debit card at Myers in St. Charles for groceries. And that was for $72.40. You will notice that now we have completed all of the transactions through February 11th. I wanted to specifically talk about this deposit. It says on February 11th, you received your biweekly paycheck for $546.18, but that you also want to make a deposit of a personal check from your grandma for $80. Make the proper deposit ticket. Well, when we look here, we know that we didn't make a debit card transaction, but rather I had made a mistake and we type in a deposit for $211. What does a deposit ticket look like? Well, this is a unique situation because now we actually have two checks to deposit. We're doing it on February 11th. In the current year, we've got this check from our employer and this $80 check for grandma. We brought in $626.18 total deposit into the bank. We don't want any money back, so we don't have to sign, meaning the net deposit into our account is for $626.18. Again, please only make this for one line in your register because that's what you're going to see when you look at your February bank statement. I've now recorded another payment to Bell Telephone Company for a bill that was due on February 16th for $24.85. Notice the next transaction is on February 18th. It says you use your debit card to withdraw $50 cash from the ATM at your bank for spending money. I like to notate this as an ATM transaction, even though I know I'm using my debit card. On the 18th, cash withdrawal from the ATM, $50. My next transaction is check number 102. Again, remembering to write 102, not a debit card, because you're writing a check. You're writing it on the 25th of February to Ray Meyer. This time it's for the March rent. And again, it's $425. I want to write that check, so I go here and I scroll through my pages or down until I find check number 102. I wrote it on 225 to Ray Meyer for $425. Again, filling in the dollar amount here, March rent, and signing. Our next step is to now reconcile for the month of February. Remember, at this moment in time, we believe we have $154.57 in our account. That is, after all of our transactions would clear the bank. That would be even all the way back up here for the transactions that we wrote out in January. So we need to open our statement for February. Now we have the February statement open, so let's recap. In January, the bank thought that we had $97.22 in our account, but we proved that that wasn't what was really in there. In the month of February, they have us for $1,243.43 in deposits. That's these two deposits here added up. $635.16 worth of withdrawals. That's all of this money here. And they feel we have an ending balance of $705.49, which you can see here and here. I didn't talk about this in the January reconciliation, but I wanted to talk about it now. The other thing that you don't have to worry about is having the same running balance as the bank. That's because what you're doing is happening in real time. What the bank is doing is when it happens to clear the bank. So you don't have to worry about the running balance, nor really the days that a transaction took place. So let's begin our reconciliation. Our first step, look at what transaction happened first. It looks like a debit card cleared the bank on the 1st of February for $24. So we scroll through our account until we find that, and we see it was back in January. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to clear out the fill color. We don't need any fill color in there because we now know that that transaction cleared the bank in February. I like to put February because if there's ever a question when it happened, I can call our banker and say, hey, in February, this payment to the Tribune happened. Can you get me a copy of that? I then go to the next transaction and I see it was that deposit for $617.25. So again, I clear out the color because it's now been cleared in the month of February. And I type an F for February. I go to the next transaction and it's my 95-cent transaction right here. So I go into February and I click F for February. In here, again, I do like to change these to green, signifying that I know I've cleared them in the bank and on my register. Notice I haven't talked about check 101 yet. That's another one that cleared the bank. So we want to make sure that we put an F for February and that we also take away the yellow highlighting because we know that it's been paid by the bank. We also change its color to green and continue on. We're now looking for a debit card transaction for $72.40. And sure enough, we see that that happened right there in February. So we change it to green. We've now come to another deposit. This time, it looks like the bank is showing us that all the deposits we made are showing up on the statement. So again, we mark an F. We notice too that our AW, what does that stand for? We scroll in here and we look for the AW, ATM withdrawal. So we mark it as $50 there as green because we know that's what we have it in our register. We have now checked off all entries in the register that match all the entries on the statement. The next step is to list all of the checks that are outstanding. Well, outstanding checks mean it's money that we've spent out of our account. So we have to go back in time until we find all of the checks that we wrote or deposit or debit card transactions that we've spent money on. So when we look back into January, there's still one on the 22nd to Kohl's. So we have a debit card transaction for $33.93 that has yet to be paid for at the bank. Maybe Kohl's had a problem with their processing system. And again, we just want to look all the way back and make sure that we're not missing anything. Then as we begin to scroll through, we recognize that the IRS still has not gotten their money out of our account. So we've got a debit card transaction. And we've got that for $67.14. Okay. And to remember it later on, we do like to mark this with that yellow highlight. The next thing we see that has not been paid yet is right here for $24.85. So again, debit card transaction, $24.85. We want to mark it with the yellow filler bucket. And again, Coach Ray Meyer was not paid, but I see I have an error happening over here, and I had put debit card transaction there. I want to clear that out, and I want to highlight it as yellow. And I want to record it over here as money that I've spent that hasn't been taken out of my account yet, $425. So again, this is $550.92 that I know I've spent that hasn't been taken out of my account yet at the bank. So it says, list all checks that are outstanding. We did that. Subtract the bank charges from your checkbook. Notice this time when we look up here, there are no charges that happen that we don't know about in our checkbook. So we don't have anything to do for step 3. Then it says complete the reconciliation form shown below. Balance shown on the statement, $705.49. We don't have any outstanding deposits because when we look in our checkbook, we see that every single one of the deposits we had listed have been on a statement somewhere. So we have $705.49 to spend. We already spent $550.92, leaving us $154.57 to spend in our account. Sure enough, we know that once all the transactions that we thought we've accomplished get paid for at the bank, we would have $154.57 to spend. So again, we mark this as green, showing that we know that we reconciled and balanced for the month of February. Now you will want to attempt March and April on your own. I'll create a video and take you through some of the key transactions that happened in that month. But I'm hopeful that you can complete the rest of the simulation on your own.